Today I'm going to talk about a very useful app that allows you to track your finances right on your phone. A while ago, I talked about Dobin, which is a completely free app that helps you manage multiple accounts and credit cards. And it has finally been released, and I think it is a very, very useful app to have. Note that this video is sponsored, but it is also good that I'm working with the Dobin team to bring you this video because I actually managed to talk to the CEO and founder to ask him a lot of burning questions that users might have about the app. So stay tuned for that, but first, let me walk you through the app features. So this is the app after you have downloaded it, and you need to connect your bank accounts. And for me, I've already connected my UOB as well as my American Express accounts just to show you how the app looks like. Okay, and you get to see your account balances as well as your credit card spend. And yeah, I did quite a bit of spend because I was helping my company book something. To me, I think the recent transaction page is the one that I really, really like because in one page, I can see all my transactions from all my connected accounts. And yeah, I don't have to dig into different bank accounts just to see my different credit card transaction as well as all the transfers I've made, whether in or out. And I can search for particular transactions very, very easily. For example, I can see my Scoot flight here, and this was booked by my American Express card. And I can look at all my hawker transactions on my UOB card. So it makes life a lot easier. The app also does things like track your expenses so you know exactly how much you're spending, as well as which categories you're spending, and this is across all the different banks. So you have a consolidated view, which is immensely useful. So I know I spent this much on food and dining in July, this much on health and fitness. Yeah, and I think it is really, really useful for people who are trying to watch their budget. Yeah, and Kylo took $43 in July. Right, so not only are you able to see the categories, you can also see your transactions. And again, this is across all your connected bank accounts and credit cards. So I cannot stress on how much this feature is needed because I have so many bank accounts, so many credit cards, and this is really, really useful to help me track all my different uh, accounts and spending. Yeah, previously I needed Excel. It was just so cumbersome to go in one by one to my different bank accounts just to log all my different expenses. So go on the App Store, I'll put the link up here as well as the description box below. Go and download it for free for iOS as well as Android devices. And now let's ask the CEO and founder of Dobin why we should trust them with our data and what good Dobin can do to our financial lives. Right, today I have a very special guest on this episode of Drinking with Seth, right? And it's Khaled, who is founder and CEO of Dobin. Right, Khaled, you want to say some words to introduce yourself and the company?
Sure. Well, thank you, Seth, for inviting me for this chat. Really glad to be here. You might hear slight French accent. So I'm French and Algerian. I've been in Singapore for the last 9 years, happily settled as a PR. Career-wise, before co-founding Dobin, I spent 20 years in financial services, split between banking for 10 years and payments for 10 years. My last stint in payments were with American Express and Visa. Build risk solutions and leverage data to better engage with the user. So spend a lot of time in that space, and that led me to co-found Dobin, which we're going to be deep diving into today. But basically, it is a financial management app that would help everyone better manage their finances.
Yeah, so can you talk more about what Dobin is as an app, right? And what problem you're trying to solve with it?
Sure. So the Dobin app is a financial management app which allow users to do three things. One is to consolidate all their account information, bank account, credit card accounts, pay wallet accounts. And by information, I mean the balances, the transactions in one place in the app. Second, it would allow them to then understand their spending behavior by categorizing those transactions. If you look at your bank statement, credit card statement, you don't know if a transaction is, like, it's not obvious if a transaction relates to grocery shopping versus, for instance, transportation, for instance. You would know as you read the description. But what Dobin does is it automatically assigns a category to each transaction. Then it consolidates to all the transactions in specific categories so that you can better understand how much you're spending on grocery versus transportation versus something else. So hence, consolidation and tracking for your finances is one big block. The second block is it allows people to spend smartly by getting merchant offers and credit card offers that they can use when they shop to cut their spending. The app sees which credit cards you hold, which merchant you spend at, and surface to you in the app relevant offers coming from different platforms. And the last piece that the Dobin app allows you to do is to apply for loans. It's not something that is available in the current version, but it's something in our web.
So no more Excel spreadsheets to track all the different spending, my different bank accounts, things like that.
Yeah, so that's what we want to kill, the Excel spreadsheets. So hopefully with a fully automated process to consolidate your information and understand it, you don't need a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think that would make my life so much easier.
Especially if you have many credit cards, which I believe you do,
I do. Actually, I realized something that was very useful, right, which is the recent transactions page, where every transaction I made with my different banks and different credit cards are all in one screen, right? And I can search for the different transactions. And that was actually, I think, one of the killer features of the app. I saw transactions that I would have missed out because I tend to go manually to my different banks and then to see different things. Yeah, so I think that's really my favorite feature of the app. Do you have a personal favorite feature, of the app?
So I love that feature because that helped me spot transactions that I was not even aware of, like late fee charges, sometimes even subscriptions to things that I'm not using anymore, and even once like a suspected fraudulent transaction that I could check on time and cancel. But my favorite feature is the expense trends, because that's based off of the aggregation of all my transactions across all accounts. And before I had that feature in the app, I had no idea how much I was spending on a monthly basis. So that helped me really understand my spending split and how it evolves over time and optimize it. For instance, I cut some of my spend in some areas where I thought was too high, and it was anyway. So I love that feature.
Yeah. So with that much information, right, that Dobin is assessing, because when I log in, it's actually a bit scary when I connect my bank accounts, right, and I see all my info there, right? Why should we trust Dobin with our information? And how secure it is, right? How private is our data?
Yeah, that's a very important question and topic, which is top of mind. I would say that there are three reasons why you should trust Dobin. So the first one is the co-founders. So we are very experienced co-founders in financial services, banking, tech, and data analytics. Collectively, we spent decades working in banks, actually dealing with sensitive data, dealing with compliance processes. So we take data very seriously. And hence, the way we protect the data is through tech infrastructure and processes. So I think the co-founder experience is very important. Number two is our philosophy. So we have two strong beliefs. So we believe that one, financial data, transaction data is valuable. And second, that it belongs to people who generate it. It belongs to you as a user if you're connecting your bank accounts. It doesn't belong to the bank, doesn't belong to Dobin, doesn't belong to anyone else than you. And hence, we're just here to help you get the best value from your own data. We would never use your data. You can use your data in the way you want. Which leads me to the third aspect, which is the product design. So the design principles. We have three very important principles that we follow very strictly. One is privacy. We would never share your data without your consent. If you can decide to only see your data or store your data on the mobile phone, we wouldn't even see it like on the back end, like Dobin back end. And then if you decide to share it, it's your decision with us to help Dobin better enhance capability, like the matching capability of the merchant offers that we're talking about, for instance, then it will be shared anonymously with our backend. But if you decide to share it with third parties, then you would be asked at that point in time, and you would know exactly why you're sharing that information. For instance, is to receive exclusive discount, to apply for a loan, for instance, which we can talk about later on. So privacy is very important. Second is control. At any point in time, you can decide to revoke, like to delete all your data from the phone, from the mobile phone, or not share the data that you decided to share initially with our backend. So you can revoke that decision. So you remain in control at any point in time. And last, it's security. And on the security thing, we can expand on that, but we use multiple ways to encrypt the data and to de-identify it, so that if when you share it with us anonymously, no one knows that it's your data, and hence it has no value. So we follow these very strict design principles.
Okay. So if someone is still, let's say, hesitant, right? Because when you first start up the app, you have to connect to the app, right? You have to connect to your different banks, okay? And you are asked to enter your credentials and all, right? Personally, I felt a bit hesitant, right? Over what the app can do. Could it actually perform transactions on my behalf, and transfer money out from my bank account?
No, not at all, because for two reasons. One is to use your credential on online banking in the app that you put in the app. That's not enough to access your bank account. You also need to perform the two-factor authentication, which is to basically approve the push notification and put the OTP in there. So it's a two-steps process, as you know. So no one can reuse your credentials to access your bank accounts, because then they would need to do the 2FA, which you only want to be able to do that. Second, once you're logged in, you have approved the 2FA, two-factor authentication, we can only view, so your data can only be accessed by the app in view only. So no other transaction can be performed on the app. And obviously, as you know, if you were to perform any transaction on your banking accounts, there's another 2FA that you need to make. So we never do that. So your data is accessed in read-only by the app itself. And as I mentioned, it stays in your mobile phone. So,
and you're working in a bank using their APIs, or?
Yeah, so we use third-party partners called aggregators. Those third-party are very secure. They follow like industry-leading standards, like ISO standards. You need to key in your credentials each time you refresh your data. And if you decide to store them so that you can do easy refresh, they will be stored on your phone only, in the keychain storing area in your mobile phone, which is the Apple. There's an equivalent with Google feature. That's why your mobile banking credentials are also stored for your mobile banking apps. So we use that same technology to store your credentials on the app if you decided to store them on your mobile phone. So we did everything we possibly in the industry to make sure that your credentials have never been tampered on, and we feel it's 100% secure.
All right, so I shared about Dobin on my channel, and there were some interesting reactions, I would say, to the app, right? So maybe you can respond to some of the user feedback and reactions.
Okay, so the first one is on trusting third-party software to access all my bank accounts. So again, first of all, like we're a Singapore incorporated company, we are professionals in the financial services for the last 20 years. We comply with the BDBA, so we have the know-how and technology and expertise to make sure that your data is 100% secure. As I mentioned, by design, we don't store any sensitive information on our backend, and that's to basically make sure that the data stays secure. So I would reassure this person that Dobin app is as secure as could be. Okay, so there was a question around how come the data is stored on the phone only, yet it needs to be categorized so that you can see it in aggregated basis, or as I mentioned, your grocery spend, for instance. So let me explain the process. So the way it works is you put your credentials on the Dobin app. The Dobin app gets your transaction data from your bank account. We go through third parties, as I mentioned, to access that data. Once you have fetched the data from your bank account, it get deleted from that third party that we went through. Then it says on your phone, what we do is we extract the merchant name from the description of that data. We send it to our backend to see that merchant name, what category it belongs to, and then we get the category back to the app. So the app matches the merchant name with the category, and hence your transaction data never leaves your phone. So we don't know who you spent, like how much you spent and where you spent at. So that's the only piece that goes to our backend, the merchant name, for the categorization purpose. Now, if you decided to share your transaction anonymously with our backend to help us enhance our data analytics capabilities so that we can show you better offers, what we do is we anonymize it and we send the amount, the merchant name, and the description of that card payment, so to speak. But we don't know who it belongs to. We don't know what who's behind that transaction.
So I think this user thinks that the app should pay them
yeah.
for using the app.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, we never sell the data, like the user's data. So we don't monetize the user's data. What we do, and that's going to come later on, is we help build, like if you want to receive discount offers that are personalized, we help you, we build your purchase profile, and then we allow you to share it with third parties anonymously to get discount offers. If you want to apply for a loan, we're going to build your credit profile and share it with you, and you can decide to share it with third party when you apply for a loan. So we don't sell your data to third parties. We just transform your raw data into deep insights that are valuable for you to prove your value to third parties and receive great deals. So enhance, we don't pay you because the value you're getting from your data and the transformation of your data is to get better deals. Once you get deals, obviously we receive a small fee for any loan that you that would be approved through the platform, for any personalized discount offer that you would receive. But the process is transparent. You decide to share information to get deals, and as you get that deal, we can get a small fee from the third party. Yeah, so on Citibank, it's the only major bank that we are missing in the Dobin app. We're working on it, and it's going to come in the next few months. I can't comment on the exact timeline because so we are experimenting that process, but it's definitely a top priority in our roadmap. And we know, especially for credit card holders, Citibank is a big one. So we will definitely have it as soon as we can.
So talking about upcoming features, right? Does Dobin have any inside scoop on what's coming up next for the app?
Yeah, so and I guess the way we think about it is short term, mid term, longer term.
Right.
And in the short term, so we build the foundational kind of blocks of the app. So what's foundational is aggregation of your transactions and allow you to track your transactions. As I mentioned, the basic trend analysis, for instance. In the short term, what we're going to be building on top of that is giving you insights on your own transactions. For instance, you're going to soon see the how much fees you're paying to the banks, for instance, late fee, and so forth. We would show you your upcoming subscriptions, payment for subscriptions. We would show you not just like this that would allow you to basically react. For instance, late fee, I need to settle my credit card bills on time, and so forth. That's on the short term, we'll focus on that. Mid-term, which is basically the next 2-3 months, you're going to see two things. One is a much better merchant offer proposition with credit card offers and a better matching. So for instance, if you're spending with particular merchants, you would see more offers with those merchants tied to the credit cards you hold. And second is credit cards, which is a new feature that we're going to launch in the app, where you can basically automatically see how much rewards, the value of rewards you're earning on your cards, and what is the card that exists in the market that would allow you to get more rewards than what you're already getting. It's a personalized recommendation, would also allow you to, on the credit card bucket, to understand which of your card you need to use for each merchant you're spending at. And longer term, we would have a credit, like a loan application feature where we can help you get better deals on the personal loans for those who have used personal loans for life events. So you would be able to apply to the Dobin app. But the Dobin app, the value add of the Dobin app versus the aggregated platforms that exist today is, if you wanted, we can build your credit profile, which you can complement with your bureau file to get a better interest rate. So that's our aim and goal, is to help you get a better interest rate on your loan application.
Yeah, so because one thing I don't like about banking apps is that sometimes they remove information, right? Like the transaction I made, I can only see the past 3 months. So if I want anything longer than 3 months, sometimes it's just lost, right? So would Dobin actually help me store all my past, maybe even up to a year or 2 years worth of data in that app?
So as long as you use the app on a regular basis, like the transaction data would stay in your phone.
Right.
And as you increase the use, for now we're only showing 3 months of data, but we don't delete any data. So which means that soon we're gonna launch showing you as far back as you have refreshed the Dobin.
Right.
So it's stored locally in your mobile phone, and you can access it at any point in time in the future,
Right.
as long as you don't delete that bank connection. If you delete it, then it's
Because that's a very, very useful feature, right? Sometimes I just want to see something that I did 6 months ago, and my banking app just doesn't show me that anymore. Yeah, so I think that would be a very great addition to have.
Okay, that's great. So we'll hopefully solve that.
Thanks for your time coming on my channel to share more about your app. Right, if you want to download the app, okay, the links are here. I'll put it on the screen here, and also subscribe to my Telegram group for more updates of all things personal finance and when Dobin releases new features. Right, I'll see you in the next video.